This is my third marathon and probably my last. The first two, I had no idea what I was doing. I just trained, hoped for the best marathon day, and suffered days after the race. So this time, I wanted to actually do this the right way. But I wasn't gonna hire a coach because I'm a broke PhD student living in Hawaii. So instead, I turned to ChatGPT and asked it to help me train for the Honolulu Marathon in December. Now, I don't know if this was a genius or terrible idea, but we're about to find out. So just for some context, I've actually run 2 marathons before, both the Honolulu Marathon in 2022 and 2023. And both times I ran it with my partner. So the first time we finished in 6 hours and 50 minutes. And the nice thing about the Honolulu Marathon is that there's no time limit. So they just allow everyone to run, which is pretty nice. And the second year we managed to shave off a few minutes and finished in 6 hours and 44 minutes. But honestly, both years we just completely winged it. We started training sometime in late August and ended up averaging about 1 run per week if we were lucky. And we skipped a lot of weeks because as busy PhD students, we're balancing our research as well as content creation and our side hustles like dog sitting. So we have like very busy lives, and sometimes it just gets really difficult to add in marathon training and to fit those runs in our busy schedules. So we decided not to run the marathon in 2024 because we wanted to take a year off to just like not marathon train and like free up our time a little bit, focus on surfing and hiking and other things. But now that we're going to be leaving Hawaii soon, this is going to be our last full year in Hawaii and our last opportunity to run the Honolulu Marathon. So we thought we would do it one last time. And honestly, we really cannot stand running and marathon training. It is the worst thing ever for us. It just takes so much time, and I think the only reason we do it is because we love the feeling of marathon day. Like nothing compares, right? Because it's just high energy, crowds of people showing up, supporting you, cheering you. The whole community like vibe of it is really awesome. People coming from like all over the world just to run in this race, and yeah, it feels amazing to like cross the finish line in front of all those people, and you just feel like super accomplished, right? Because you did something so huge, running a marathon that not everyone does. So that alone, I think, is like the main reason why we put ourselves through the pain of marathon training for like weeks. And another pro is that as a PhD student and content creator, I just spend hours and hours sat at this desk here on my computer for like the entire day, not moving at all, maybe just walking around my apartment. So I don't get many steps in, which is really bad for health, right? So having a goal to work toward like a marathon really forces us to get outside, get moving a little, and get some steps in. So I also really like that about the whole marathon training process. Okay, so once we decided that we were gonna be running the marathon this year, we signed up, and the first thing I thought is that, okay, if we're running this year, I definitely wanna beat my time from last year. Not by a lot, but I would like to do a little bit better, and I would like to feel better prepared compared to like the last 2 years where we just didn't know anything. So the first thing I did was go to ChatGPT because, you know, it's so easy these days. ChatGPT can do just about anything. So yeah, I basically opened it and typed in this prompt. Yeah, so I said, can you make me and my partner a marathon training plan? The marathon is in December. I've run it twice before. This was my time, and I just want to do slightly better. And I haven't run since my last marathon in December 2025. So yeah, that's what I put into ChatGPT, and this is what I got out. A full 18-week training plan with the different weeks and the dates for each week and the days of the week, telling me exactly how many kilometers I'm supposed to be running each time. And it originally gave us a plan with 3 runs per week, but knowing us, we thought that's like more than we did last time. There's no way realistically that we're gonna be able to stick to something like that. So instead, we told ChatGPT to like revise the plan, keeping in mind that we don't want to run 3 times per week, but instead have us run 2 to 3 times a week alternating. So it gave us this revised plan that I'm showing here. And yeah, all of the green is everything we've done already. It started us out nice and easy at 3.2 kilometers. Our longest run so far has been 12.8 kilometers, and we've completed weeks 1 through 8, only skipping 1 run for Mishi's birthday because it didn't fit into our busy plans for that day. But overall, we've been really good. And like the nicest thing is that ChatGPT came up with this in like just a few seconds, right? This very detailed plan broken down week by week and like day by day. It also has Sunday for cross training, which could be like swimming, surfing, hiking, other things that like helps improve your cardio, I think. And it even incorporated like cutback weeks, which is not something that I knew anything about, but I think we're like slowly working our way up in mileage. And then during the cutback weeks, we like fall back a little bit. I think so we don't hurt ourselves, and so we have a time to like rest and recover. And then it goes up again, down a little, up again, and then it tapers off towards the end leading up to the marathon. So we're running a little bit lighter and easier so we don't hurt ourselves or strain anything before race day. So yeah, I was really super impressed with that plan because I would have taken a long time to come up with something like that week by week. I would have had to do my own research, but as a complete like beginner who doesn't have much experience and ran before, but it's not like I'm trying to do a sub 4 or sub 6 marathon. I'm just trying to like finish and do slightly better than the times before. So I think ChatGPT has given me like a perfect plan to give me good odds of doing well this year in the marathon. So I thought it would be interesting to show you guys how we trained for the past 2 marathons when we just winged it ourselves and thought what was gonna be right and like best for us, having no knowledge of what marathon training is like, what it requires, or how much we should be running, you know, per week, and like total mileage that we should be aiming for. We just had no idea. So we just basically went out, ran some days, and I wanted to show you guys what that breakdown looked like in each year and how it compares to this ChatGPT version. And really quick, if you guys are getting any value out of this video, please give it a big like. It helps the algorithm push this video to more people like you that are interested in seeing it or can learn something from it. And consider subscribing to not miss more PhD life in Hawaii and marathon training. Back to the video. Okay, so this is our plan for 2022. Our first year running it, no prior experience running any races for that matter, not even a 5K. So we started training on August 30th, pretty late in the game, if you ask me. We trained for a total of 10 weeks leading up to the marathon, and we skipped 5 of them. Yeah, we're only running like once a week here. You can see sometimes 2, but on average once a week, starting at 5 kilometers and working our way up to 15.5 kilometers at the max, which came out to 11 runs and about 98 kilometers ran total before the marathon. So pretty crazy. Like, we did not run that much that year. So let's see how we did the next year in 2023, see if there were any improvements or how it compares. And this year, I think we did a little bit better. We started training much earlier, around like August 15th. We started at 5.5K and eventually worked our way up to a half marathon, so 21.17 kilometers. We trained for 14 weeks total and skipped 3 of them, so at least a little bit more than last time. A total of 16 runs and 124 kilometers. So a little bit better than last time. From 11 to 16 runs and then 98 to 124 kilometers. Definitely an improvement, and from my point of view, the marathon did feel a little bit easier the second time for some reason. And we finished a little bit faster. Now if we compare that to our plan for this year, it's just like worlds apart. It's crazy like what a proper marathon training plan looks like, because here we've already done 19 runs so far, excluding the one that we skipped. So still 19 runs and about 120 kilometers. So that is already more runs and more total mileage that we ran in the previous 2 years, which is crazy because we're only in week 9 of 18. So about a little bit less than halfway through our marathon training program. And by the time we complete our training and are prepared to run marathon race day, we will have run 43 runs and 360 kilometers, which is like 3 times the mileage of the past 2 years. So there is a huge difference. We were just completely unprepared those last 2 years and still managed to finish at what I thought was a good time, less than 7 hours. That's what we were hoping for. So I cannot imagine how much better we're gonna feel and do this next marathon, because that is just crazy how like underprepared we are. And we just had no idea, right? Because we had no knowledge and no expectation of what that process was supposed to look like. We did zero research on like how to marathon train. We just wanted to run, increase our mileage, and run whenever we had time. So yeah, I think ChatGPT has been a huge game changer for us in this sense for marathon training, because we didn't have to like do any research, which we didn't do before, but we didn't have to do that in order to come up with a really solid plan. And we don't have to like guess about how much are we gonna run this week or what days are we gonna run this week. It's completely removed the guesswork and just given us like a solid, clear plan so we know exactly what we're doing each day. It's nicely laid out for us in a table, and we just like execute on those plans. So huge game changer, like having a marathon training plan, because then you're just like, ticking off the boxes, checking off runs, and you get to see that nice progress of like how you're working your way through each week and how many more runs you have left. So I think that's been awesome. So as I mentioned, we're entering week 9 of our marathon training program, and I think it's going pretty well overall. We've been sticking to our runs, staying disciplined, and like showing up each time. So we're doing a great job at running consistently. I think we're getting a little bit better at running, it feels like, and we're increasing our mileage much sooner than we have in the past. So I think our highest run so far has been like 12.8 kilometers, and we run like 14 point something this weekend, and it's only beginning of October. So we're doing much better compared to the last years. One thing we haven't been worrying about too much is our pace during our running. So we hadn't put much thought into that, but I know from like the marathon results from last year that our overall pace averaged about 9 minutes and 36 seconds per kilometer for the whole marathon. So in our marathon training, we're aiming for anywhere between like 8 to 9 minutes per kilometer. So not too fast, but just like steady and like slow enough that we can have a conversation while running. And I think that some of the other differences that we've made to marathon training this year have been that now we're actually running along the marathon route, which I think is pretty smart because we're incorporating more hill sections that I hope is gonna like prepare us for marathon day and make those like hills much easier. We've also been switching our runs from like evening, which is mostly what we did in the past, to morning runs. And this has been so much easier, I think, in order to like stay disciplined, because I feel like willpower and discipline is highest in the morning and just like declines throughout the day. So if I'm trying to get a workout in or a run in, I think it's like super important and just so much easier to do it in the morning, because then it's done. I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day, and the rest of the day is just mine, right? So that's been really nice, and surprisingly, that kind of just happened by accident, and we ended up enjoying it a lot more than evening runs. The only downside about morning runs is that we get started on work later. So if you have a job that might not be ideal, but if you work from home like us, it basically means that we don't get into our work days until like 10 or 11 sometimes after doing our run, coming back, showering, making breakfast. So that part I don't like that much, because I feel like, I don't know, I would much rather just get into work straight thing first thing in the morning. Getting into work mode a little bit later when it's like right before lunch isn't very ideal for me. but that's just, I think, the sacrifice that it takes to like fit in the marathon training into our busy schedule. Another downside of marathon training and training properly and doing so many runs is that we are just constantly tired and hungry. Like, I feel like I'm just eating all the time. I don't know, I have to sleep a little bit longer. I think my body needs more time to recover. So definitely like more tired, especially on the weekends when we have those long runs. Like, I feel like we run Saturday morning and the rest of the day, I'm just kind of like laying down, not doing much because I'm just exhausted. And I saw on Reddit that the key to like fatigue when you're training is eating more. So that's something I'm trying to do, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So my final thoughts on like whether or not you should use ChatGPT for marathon training. I think overall it's done a pretty good job. I think it can be extremely helpful if you're a beginner or like someone like me who's maybe done a few marathons and doesn't have like super high expectations of wanting to do like extremely well. Right, I just want to run it, feel good, and like finish in a nice time. So if you're someone like that just wants to like, you know, run it, not too much experience, and don't want to put like so much thought into developing the right plan for you, then I think ChatGPT is perfect because you can tell it a little bit about yourself, just enough information of like what time you're aiming for, what sort of time you have to train, how well prepared you are, like where you need to begin. I think it could be perfect for that. And obviously it's not going to give you the motivation to run, even though you can probably tell it to like give you a pep talk or something, but it definitely does give you the clarity. And I think that helps with you taking action because you're not procrastinating, you're not putting it off because there's no barrier, right? Like ChatGPT has laid out a plan in front of you, telling you exactly how much you need to run each day, week by week, when you need to rest, when you need to cross train. Mine even reminded me when I should be buying new marathon shoes, which was awesome because I didn't have to do any of that thinking, right? I didn't have to worry about how I was gonna prepare for it. I just told it a little bit about myself and my goals, and it came up with all of that very quickly. So clearly, having a marathon training plan is the way to go. I think this year we're gonna be so much more successful compared to our past 2 years because last time we just winged it. You know, we were doing whatever the heck we wanted, no direction, no guidance, and it worked okay for us. I mean, we had low expectations, so can't complain about that. But this year, I'm super excited because, I don't know, I feel like we're gonna do much better than the last 2 years. And we'll see what difference this marathon training plan makes for us when it comes to race day. We're about halfway through our training, beginning week 9 of 18. So I know we're like still in the early stages. We're working our way up. Shorter runs are becoming longer and the longer runs are becoming really longer. So we're gonna slowly work our way up to like 20 and 25 kilometer runs. And yeah, I know that's gonna be brutal, but I'm excited for it. Over the next few months, I'm gonna be vlogging my marathon training experience, sharing the highs and lows and how I'm making it all fit in with my PhD life, you know, on top of like everything else that I do. Then in December, we're gonna be sharing our race day video so you guys can actually see how it went and whether or not we were way more prepared than the last 2 years or if all of that training just made no difference. So if you wanna follow our journey and see how we do this marathon, subscribe to not miss it. And if you're interested in seeing how far we've come, check out last year's marathon video where we had no plan at all.